Hey everyone, it's Matt, and today we're going to be stepping back in time and experiencing the internet of the 90s and early 2000s. And to do this, we're going to be using something called ProtoWeb, which is a relatively new project that seeks to recreate parts of the internet as it existed back in the early days. And you may already be familiar with things like archive.org and the Wayback Machine, but if you've spent any time with those, you know they can be very finicky and inconsistent and have lots of broken links and images that won't load, and it's just kind of a scattered, disorganized experience. What ProtoWeb is it is a community project where a bunch of people have gotten together and meticulously recreated entire websites, or at least big chunks of them, and put them on a sort of infrastructure that, while I'm not smart enough to fully understand, if I do understand correctly, it basically emulates the structure of the early internet in a way that this ProtoWeb project can be accessed even by hardware from the 90s and 2000s. But you can also access it from a modern computer with the right software as well. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to take a look at ProtoWeb and see all the old stuff that they've put together and let us experience exactly as it was back in the 90s and 2000s. So, let's get nostalgic. Starting here, we're on the ProtoWeb homepage, which is a sort of directory for all the stuff that is on ProtoWeb. And there's a ton of different stuff here, and some of the stuff on ProtoWeb is actually new, but we'll get to that later. The majority of it is old. But how about we take a look here at the full index to start. So on the index here we have a handful of different categories, and we have some search engines, like you can search Google, but it looks like the old Google, and I think the majority of search results are on the older side, but I could be wrong. I'm not sure exactly how this works. So, say if I were to search cheese on Google, I get all these old looking results, the first of which is not a Wikipedia page for cheese, but a website for the American Cheese Society. A website all about the American Cheese Society here. And of course, it looks very old because it is very old. You can learn about the purpose and the traditions of the American Cheese Society. They have an online store, though it seems to redirect to somewhere that is not on ProtoWeb yet. But they have a list of suppliers, such as the New England Cheese Making Supply Company. And I'm not going to keep looking at all this, but as you can see, some, by today's standards, unconventional search results. Now I wonder what would happen if I typed in ASMR. So there's only one result, and that's from a CNET article that is definitely newer than most of the stuff on ProtoWeb. I don't know if some of the newer stuff is from CNET or this somehow got through, but it does take you to what looks like a newer CNET page that doesn't load quite properly, because this is not set up for that. So it's not perfectly consistent, but I did want to see what ASMR would get us on this old Google search engine. So if we go back and scroll down a bit more, we have web pages that pull live content from today's internet, but present it in an old, the format of the old website is based on. So you can go to dictionary.com and get modern definitions. So it looks like the old dictionary.com, but if I type in something like, I don't know, I don't know if it has a brand, but smartphone. We got a cell phone that includes additional software functions such as email or an internet browser. Copyright 2024 over here. So that's kind of cool. But what we're really here for is the old stuff. But before we do, I do want to take a look at weather.com here for the Weather Channel's old website with modern data. Very retro looking site here. I like these circular buttons with the shadows and everything. It's kind of a skeuomorphic design that you don't see much these days. All about us, the Weather Channel. And these old websites had some crazy layouts, all these images all over the place. Our company. The Weather Channel is a 24-hour, 7-day television network devoted entirely to weather. Alright, but let's look at weather in New York. What's the weather in New York City right now? By JFK. Not available. Is it not working? There we go. Johnstown. Currently 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And there's the forecast. But this is what you would see back in the 90s or early 2000s on weather.com. Just with the weather of that time. And so if we keep going down here, we have web rings. And these were basically communities on website builders like GeoCities and so on, where tons of people made their own websites and were part of a ring based on various themes and hobbies and interests, if I'm not mistaken. To be honest, I was not really into the web rings when I was at the age that they were a thing, but as far as I understand, that is basically what they are. So let's look at the anime ring and see what we get. So here's a bunch of GeoCities sites, and as you can see, they are kind of divided into locations like Tokyo, Times Square, Enchanted Forest, and these do not pertain necessarily to real locations, but they're basically the online virtual locations that people chose to put their websites. And obviously the anime ring has a lot of Tokyo ones, given that it's anime. So let's look at this one right here. I don't know what this is. Welcome to Dr. Zero Temple. You are my guest, 170. That's right, these old websites would have counters to show how many visitors they'd had. And if I'm not mistaken, I think ProtoWeb has these counters, at least on some websites, working properly. So maybe 170 people have visited this place on ProtoWeb. So let's see, Dr. Zero's Temple. I'm not entirely sure what this anime website is about, but maybe if I hit next, we'll get somewhere else. Their anime and games page. And there's maybe a Macromedia plugin of some sort that should be there, but it's not working. Dr. Zero here. Sorry for the slow update. My computer was down for a while. It seems like it's basically their diary of sorts on the anime they've been into. Back before Facebook or MySpace or any of that, you had to make your own web page. And it was pretty fun. I had one of mine back in the early to mid 2000s, but it's lost to time. I tried to find it on archive.org, but it's gone. Let's look at one more before we move on from the anime web ring. Rei's Achika Shrine. And I like how the style of the anime on these websites is very much the old 90s anime style. because that's what it's from. Stuff like Sailor Moon and everything. None of the newer anime style that you see these days. Has a very distinctive look that you notice once you take a closer look. They got some images here, maybe of their favorite anime. I don't recognize all these, but maybe you do. Of course, the resolution of these is not very high, given that it's the early internet, and on dial-up, images would take quite a while to load, even if they were tiny. So, let's take a look at one more web ring before we move on. How about the cat ring? Let's look at some cute cats. Let's look at this one here. Two Tails web rings. This cat lover's ring site is owned by Mary, Lucy, and Ethel. I wonder what those people are up to now. This happiness is being owned by cats site. I guess it's a ring within a ring called Happiness is being owned by cats. But that one's not on ProtoWeb. There's also the perfectly delightful cat ring. Let's get some more pictures of cats though. I want to go to a different ring. Cats, cats, and more cats. This page is devoted to my cat, Cleo, former cats I have loved, and cats in general. Imagine building an entire website all about your cat. That's what these people did. Look at that adorable cat. And here's another, nice and sleepy. The mischievous cat, Cleo. We took her home in 1994. A long, long time ago. Cleo in Kirk's backpack. Look at that kitty. What a great cat. Our cat, Baby, aka Fang Baby, was my husband's and my first quote-unquote child. Here's Baby. Baby is the best. That's all I gotta say. So, let's keep on moving here. So, here we have contributor and sponsor sites, where a team of digital curators at ProtoWeb and key partners have full access to the platform to build websites and experiment. So these are original websites made in recent years, specifically for ProtoWeb, but that's not quite what we're here for. So here is pass-through, websites that are passed through the proxy. And I believe these are just modern websites that are set up to be viewed properly on old hardware, like the old net. If you remember, back in I think 2020 or 2021, I made a video similar to this one using the old net. And it was fun, but I remember having some trouble with it. It is, if I'm not mistaken, based on archive.org and is fairly incomplete as a result, and had the same kind of issues as archive.org gives you. So I appreciate the improvement that ProtoWeb has for what it can offer. And yeah, Windows Update Restored.com. What is this? Windows Update Restored is a community-based project aimed at restoring the old Windows Update websites for Windows 95, NT4, 98, ME, 2000, and XP. So if you have old Windows software or hardware and you want to update it from that software or hardware, you can go to this website on ProtoWeb and update your Windows. Kinda neat. There's also a Halo and Bungie Studios fan site. And of course it looks very old, but it has new stuff from 2024. All about Halo and Bungie. Kinda cool, but we'll see if we can find the old Halo stuff. So now if we go down here, we get a list of all the restored websites. But before we do, I had an idea, something that we need to double check, because it is still technically a website that exists today, but I would hope it's on ProtoWeb, and that is the Space Jam website. Yes, it is still here. It is still here, if I'm not mistaken. Today, you can go to spacejam.com and get this page, where you can learn about the lineup of Space Jam, such as the Looney Tunes bios. I got pictures of Daffy Duck, the only major Warner Brothers cartoon stars to be established before Bugs rather than in the wake of his success, were Daffy Duck and Porky Pig. And that's Daffy, alright? No great dialogue, just hoo-hoo. Yeah, that's Daffy, alright. And on the left here, let's take a look at the press box shuttle for Space Jam news, but there's none at the moment. And I like these old ads. This is what ads used to look like on websites sometimes. These tiny little boxes at the bottom of a page. Much less intrusive than modern ones. Alright, so back to the list of restored websites. How about we start with 3dfx.com. And 3dfx, I remember for making graphics cards like the 3DX or 3dfx Voodoo. I don't know exactly what's going on here on this page though. You asked for it, and you got it. What did we get though? What did we ask for? Was it just 3dfx titles? Is this a some sort of software or hardware thing where you can make 3D words like that? Let's click into the website and find out. I see. So I think, yeah, this is a list of supported software that 3dfx graphics cards could run, if I'm not mistaken, or that they enhanced with their graphics cards. So we got old stuff like MechWarrior 2, we got Tomb Raider, Unreal, Jedi Knight, Descent 2, Wipeout XL, plenty of old classics, including Quake. Interesting little list. Let's look at their products. Yes, Voodoo graphics for the 3dfx consumer, as well as the 3dfx coin-op arcade machines. Interesting to see that they made graphics for arcade machines as well, but that makes sense when you think about it. How about we go to 3D Realms next? And yes, if I'm not mistaken, these were the guys who did Duke Nukem 3D. Seems the most recent update was from 2000. And oh boy, they were talking about working on Duke Nukem Forever. And if you know anything about that game, you know that it was nowhere near release in 2000. But that's a whole nother story. Let's take a look at their list of games. Duke Nukem Forever. They got Max Payne, Duke Nukem Planet of the Babes, Duke Nukem 0 Hour for the N64. They got a Game Boy Duke Nukem game, a PlayStation 1, Balls of Steel, a pinball game themed to Duke Nukem, Shadow Warrior Duke Nukem 3D Atomic Edition. This is the good stuff. The classic PC action game of all time, the one that launched Duke Nukem into superstardom. The Atomic Edition includes Duke Nukem 3D, as well as the Plutonium pack. Alright. So that's enough of 3D Realms. I wonder what 7-Eleven looked like on the internet back then. Ah, beautiful. Very 90s. Look at that font, that logo. 7-Eleven. And this has a page on financial relations, selling to 7-Eleven, franchise information, etc. Looks like it was aimed at the more business people side of it. But what's the fun stop? Seems the fun stop is thankheaven.com, but that is not on ProtoWeb yet. Interesting. How about AOL? America Online, a true staple of the 90s. Anyone over a certain age knows exactly how prolific, or at least annoying, their advertising was, sending you AOL discs in the mail, included with everything you could think of. There were just tons and tons of discs everywhere, offering free trials of AOL, which was an internet service. I had AOL as a kid for dial-up. But yeah, they got the mail here. You've got mail, as you would hear. They got offers like the CDs did for 1,000 hours free, AOL Instant Messenger. Many good memories made chatting with friends on AOL Instant Messenger. Got linked to ICQ. They got the groups. They got love at AOL, early internet dating, and the web channels for various interests. But yeah, I like the Netscape Now here. If you were around in those days, you know about Netscape as well, one of the earlier internet browsers. Let's go to Apple.com. Let's see what they were about. No iPhones or iPods back then, that's for sure. They were advertising Mac OS 8, as well as CyberDrive. What is CyberDrive? Seems it's not accessible, but it's some sort of BMW thing. They got movies from Mars with QuickTime video. The eMate 300, mobile, affordable, and smart. What is this? It is a companion to macOS and Windows-based computers. So if you didn't want a Mac or a Windows laptop, you got this thing. Whatever this is. Interesting. But you can win a PowerBook. They got the Boston Mac Party, Apple shirts, jackets, backpacks. This is long before Apple was anywhere near as big as it is today. It's kind of interesting to see how small it was relatively. I don't know when this was. Yeah, this was 1997. I think around 97 or 98 is when Steve Jobs came back to Apple, but they were not doing well at all around this time, if I'm not mistaken. They almost went bankrupt. Let's look at their product information. They got the 20th anniversary Macintosh. They got Mac OS, QuickTime, a lot of stuff that you hear about these days, but at the time it was their focus, even if you don't think about it much anymore. Interesting. Alright, so let's try BestBuy.com. Let's see what kind of stuff they got on Best Buy. They got the weekly Best Buys. Yeah, it looks like this was around Christmas time or the holidays because of the decoration up here. Holiday savings. You can pick up a 101 Dalmatians holiday savings coupon book. Probably meant to tie in with the Disney movie, which must have been new at that time. 1996. Let's look at the weekly Best Buys. Thousands of markdowns store-wide. 25% off all Christmas CDs, cassettes, and movies. 15% off all Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis software. Very nice. So you can't click on these. These aren't categories to look at. But how about I click movies, music, and software down here? So they're advertising some Joy to the World album, I guess. Listing some of the songs. You can hear previews here. They got lists of games. Let's look at Nintendo 64. On December 2nd of this year, Cruisin' USA 64 comes out. What about Shadows of the Empire 64? Can't wait for Mortal Kombat Trilogy 64. I can imagine going on this website as a kid and looking up what was coming out. Though I would normally go to stuff like the Nintendo site instead, or more video game specific sites. Oh yeah, Super Mario 64. They got a link to learn about 3D graphics, I think. All about the Nintendo 64. The world's first 64-bit video game machine. In the magical world of 3D. One of its kind control stick that allows for a 360-degree movement. Wow. Debuts with 2 exciting adventure games. Takes you back to this page. How about the PlayStation? Star Wars Dark Forces, Tomb Raider, Twisted Metal 2, Madden 97. Very nice. How about edutainment software? Green Eggs and Ham by Dr. Seuss on CD-ROM. I wonder if there are any of the PC games I still have from my childhood on this list. Yeah, I don't think so. Still fun to look at. What about entertainment software? Steven Spielberg's director's chair. Your goal is to create a hit movie with guidance from Steven Spielberg. I wonder how that game works. Oh yeah, Monopoly on CD-ROM. I still have this one. It's got some iconic music as well. 16-bit digital sound. Wow. Another Tomb Raider. I never did play any of the Tomb Raider games of that era. Maybe I will sometime soon with the remaster that came out. I remember with the old Flight Simulator games. Those were cool. Well, not games, but simulators. Quake. Oh yeah. Alright, how about we go back to the list here. I don't want to spend all day on the Best Buy site. How about Bionicle.com? If you know, you know. Bionicle, the coolest LEGO series. Here you will learn the truth and the legends about the Toa, the Turaga, Makuta, and the other denizens of Mata Nui. You can also discover the power of the Kanohi masks and learn why they are so valuable to both sides in the struggle. Return here often for new information about the exciting world of Bionicle. You can protect your desktop with a Toa if you download Tahu. I think this is one of those old desktop toys. Yeah, you used to be able to put these like creatures or characters that would walk around and do stuff on your desktop while you used your computer. This is one of them. You can win a gold mask from a sweepstakes. Let's take a look at Turaga. Toa. I don't remember the name of it, but I had one or two of these things that I thought were cool. It might be under Mata Nui. I might still have it in storage. No, Mata Nui is the place. These are definitely not what I had. But actually there is a thing down here. Oh yeah, here we go. Kanoi Akaku. I think I had that one. And I might have also had Kanoi Hau. But yeah, I'm going to stop going on and on about Bionicle, but if you were around at that time, you remember how cool they were for kids. So, Blood, the official Blood website, and that is most likely the game. Oh yeah, Blood. One of the great build engine games. I played it myself a few years ago. It lives up to the name. It's very bloody. Oh boy, here we go. Alright, so if you know, you know. Bonzi Buddy, your best friend on the internet, free for a limited time. Have you ever talked to a gorilla? Save $40. Download now for free. Download Bonzi Buddy. He can surf the web with you as your sidekick. He can talk, joke, browse, search, email, and download like no other friend you've ever had. And so, he was one of those desktop toys that would also do a bunch of random stuff for you, but he was infamous because, well, he spread all over the place and tons of people downloaded him, but he was secretly, or maybe not so secretly, somewhat malicious. If I recall correctly, he was either spyware or adware of some sort, and would basically do stuff you didn't want happening on your computer, while advertising himself as a very useful and fun toy. And so, I don't know if anyone ever actually bought Bonzi Buddy for $40, but you should not have downloaded him for free. Very funny to look back at, though, and I would imagine fairly harmless to download today if you have the right protections, but I'm not going to touch it. Oh, Bonzi Buddy. Classic. So, how about we take a look at Bungie's website? This, of course, will be about Halo. E3 2000. Let's take a look at Halo. This must be an early image of Halo. It doesn't quite look like the Master Chief I know. 1999 Bungie software. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the Xbox came out in maybe 2000 or 2001. And in the early days of development, Halo was going to be a Mac game, maybe Mac exclusive. So it's interesting to see this earlier site here. Yeah, Halo announced on the 21st of July that year at Macworld. And at that time it was a third-person sci-fi action epic. Halo was unveiled this morning in Steve Jobs' keynote address to the Macworld Expo. Interesting. Expected to ship in the year 2000. Obviously we know a lot changed, but it's interesting to see how early it was announced before everything got changed. How about ChuckECheese.com? When I was a kid, I enjoyed Chuck E. Cheese. I had a birthday or two there. Click me, I can talk. Unfortunately, that does not open properly or play here. You have to download it, because it was not meant for this sort of thing. But how about we look at the restaurants? You can find a Chuck E. Cheese near you. Our menu features homemade pizza made from the freshest, high-quality ingredients. Is that so? How about birthdays? Have the best birthday party ever at Chuck E. Cheese's. Your party will include a decorated table reserved for 90 minutes with party hats and balloons, 2 slices of pizza with 1 topping per child, plus soft drinks with free refills. Yeah, I'm not going to read all this, but you also get a personal visit from Chuck E. Cheese. Oh yeah, only $7.99 per child. Not too bad, but that's before inflation, of course. You also can get party favor bags of Chuck E. Cheese's awesome bag of fun stuff. Looks like there's a pencil, some stickers, a slinky, a notepad, a Tootsie Roll. Lots of stuff that kids at the time might enjoy. But moving on, how about we take a look at Compaq. This was or is, I don't think they are anymore, a brand of computers. I remember, I think I might have had, or my parents had a Compaq computer at one point. Let's look at their home computing. The Compaq Presario, yeah, I think we had one of those. Look at the Compaq showroom. They got the Ultimate Multimedia PC. The Ultimate Multimedia 8000 Series PC with PowerVR Arcade 3D graphics. Lightning fast Pentium processors. Find your dream machine. I wonder if this works. What are you looking for in a PC? I want the most awesome multimedia PC that exists. Entertainment and games. I want to run 5 or more programs at the same time. I want to save lots of stuff. And the speed is the most important feature. I want to install add-ons as well. Any combination of all these features for communication. I want to play the latest 3D arcade games and the new Windows games. I want high fidelity audio. And I want to put the entire system on my desk. And I want the best PC money can buy. It doesn't work anymore. I wanted to see the specs it would give me, but that's okay. How about Counter-Strike Condition Zero? Classic. An old Counter-Strike website. The world's #1 action game. I got some screenshots. Yep, that's Counter-Strike, alright. This one seems to be from 2003. How about download.net? Yeah, you don't see them as much these days, but there used to be old websites that would be all about just collecting a bunch of cool downloads for interesting stuff. All about the best of the internet in terms of action games, arcade games, applications, etc. Their sponsor is the GT Interactive Balls of Steel giveaway. Duke Nukem, of course. I wonder, what do they have on download.net? You can sign up for the newsletter. Let's go to the Windows 95 section. Let's look at 3D shooter games. I got Forsaken. Interesting, they have their own ratings and descriptions for everything. They got Quake 2. I remember Game Spy. I don't quite remember what it was though. Some sort of internet thing. Yeah. Pretty cool stuff. No, I think a lot of these were shareware versions. They weren't the full game, they were more like demos. And then you could order the full version via mail or whatever. Antivirus programs for Windows 95. Virus Safe Web. Norton Antivirus. Thunderbite. McAfee. Some of these you might know, but other ones are probably nowhere to be seen these days. Screensavers for Windows 95. A lawnmower screensaver. Lawnmower runs across your screen. Alien Visitations. Santa is coming screensaver. Look at the Bugs Bunny screensaver. Not gonna save it, but it looks kind of creepy there. The spray paint screensaver, the skiing bear, Coke. Ah yes, the Coca-Cola polar bear has a screensaver. An aquarium. Lots of stuff very relevant to the 90s here. The Calvin and Hobbes screensaver. Screensavers used to be all the rage, but you barely even see them anymore. But that's enough of that. Now, how about we go to 5guys.com. Five Guys famous burgers and fries. They didn't even put a logo image here, they just put Five Guys in big red font. We hope you enjoy our hamburgers, french fries, and our website. This was presumably before they got ridiculously expensive. I remember the days. Copyright 2000. What's on the menu? Oh yeah, here we go. Cheeseburger for $4. I'm not sure how that compares to today with inflation, but pretty similar looking menu. And of course, they've got the review snippets here, as you always see in their restaurants. How about fries.com? Depending on where you were or live, you might be familiar with Fry's Electronics. Unfortunately, they all shut down a couple years ago. But I remember loving Fry's Electronics. They had a ton of different electronic stuff that'd be hard to find elsewhere. And their stores were all themed in interesting ways. Though they were maybe slightly sketchy, with some obviously open box stuff being sold as new and kind of hit or miss customer service, but there was a charm to them. Looks like they offered a DSL service back then. That was some internet service. How about Google? Oh, we already looked at Google, that's right. The official Duke Nukem website. We already looked at 3D Realms, but how about the official Duke Nukem website itself? Approved by Duke Nukem. Oh yeah, got his list of guns. It's time to kick ass and chew bubblegum, so grab your favorite weapon off the rack and kick in the door to the airlock. Can you shoot the guns on this website? Let's find out. Let's try the Devastator. Yeah, it shows up down here like it's in my inventory. And if we go here, we can go to the locker room. Galactic Hero Duke Nukem. I'm not sure what the gun is for. Product Manager at GT Interactive. Seems like it's just a bunch of info in an interactive format. So, how about we drew... Oh yeah, Half-Life. The original Half-Life. Since its release in November 1998, Half-Life has won more than 50 Game of the Year awards. The best PC game ever. Very nice. This tried to go to GameOfTheYear.com, which is not here. Yeah. Not much here. Unfortunate, but it's still cool to see. Oh yes, the hamster dance. I'm not going to play the audio for this. I don't know if it will play, but one of those classic viral websites that everyone shared with each other. Just a bunch of dancing hamster gifs with the hamster dance song playing in the background. Super, super classic 90's. 1997. Help, I can't hear the music. Well, we don't want to hear it right now. Probably copyrighted. Click here to visit our sponsor. What was their sponsor? Can't tell. And it's not on ProtoWeb. How about the Home Depot? Oh yeah. These people are ready for home improvement. And who can forget Home Star Runner? This was a website with tons and tons of silly flash animations with these original characters. I don't know if I can get away with showing a whole one of these, so I'm not going to do it, but we'll take a quick look at what we got here. We got the animations when you hover over the buttons. I remember when I was young, I liked the Strong Bad emails. Let's look at the Strong Bad emails. These, I believe, were emails that you could send in and they would animate him responding to them in a silly way. Monster Truck. Yeah, I'm not going to show the whole thing, but you get the idea. If you have no idea what Homestar Runner is, you are missing out. I'm not sure how well it holds up with today's humor, though. Anyway, oh yes, Humongous Entertainment. They make games like Putt Putt and Freddy Fish and Pajama Sam, which you might know I played from my old PC game childhood collection. Classic games. There's Putt Putt and Pajama Sam and Freddy Fish. Oh yeah. Let's take a look at their games here. Putt Putt Saves the Zoo. That was my favorite when I was a kid. Nice screenshot. Probably the best kids CD-ROM game on shelves today. A quote from Newsweek in 1995. $39.95. And of course, we can't forget Ada Software, creators of Doom and Quake and so on. Let's look at their killer games. We got a Quake thing here. Got Quake, Ultimate Doom, Final Doom, Doom 2, Heretic, Hexen 2. Doom 2, Hell on Earth, the record-breaking sequel to Doom, has sold over 1.5 million copies worldwide, with realistic 3D graphics. I got some screenshots, very low-resolution screenshots, but that was the early internet. Looks like these were scanned off a printed page in a magazine or something. Interesting. They got the master levels for Doom 2. They also have their vintage games, like Commander Keen and Wolfenstein. Commander Keen. I think this might have been the first id Software game. I might be wrong. I never did play it, though. Moving on, we got KentuckyFriedChicken.com. I like these MS Paint looking GIFs of chickens. I guess their slogan back then was everybody needs a little KFC. I'm not sure that's true, but let's learn about KFC. Looks like this is from around 97. Nothing terribly interesting here, but you got the contact information for public affairs. And here's another one, everything a meal should be. Alright, how about LucasArts? Oh yeah, let's go to the enhanced version. Star Wars Yoda Stories, the Outlaws game, Star Wars Rebellion. You can get a full version of Rebel Assault for free. Click here for details. How can you do that? Print out a coupon, buy any of the best-selling CD-ROM games below, and then print out a coupon and get this game free. Oh yeah, Dark Forces, Rebel Assault 2. I remember playing Rebel Assault 2 as a kid. I had so much trouble with the Millennium Falcon part, where you're trying to fly through the tunnels without crashing. I have nightmares about that. Though I tried it more recently, it wasn't that bad. Maybe I'm just was bad at games as a kid. Here's Rebel Assault 2 on a movie theater screen. These screenshots make it look a lot nicer than it was. It was all the pre-rendered cutscene stuff, I assume. There was also a PlayStation version. I didn't know that. Alright. How about Microsoft? Windows 2000 time. So, a very corporate, businessy website, as you would expect from Microsoft. About Microsoft. Corporate information. This guy certainly looks like he uses Windows. Hear what Bill Gates has to say about the future of the computer industry and Microsoft's role in it. You can buy official Microsoft merchandise. most interesting website. Oh, you can pre-order Windows Me. Who remembers Windows Me? If you know, you know. That was a thing. Oh yes. Who can forget Neopets? I think it's still around, though maybe not in the same form, but this was a site a lot of people had a lot of fun with. You would basically raise virtual pets and play games with them. And it was a sort of community. I don't think it would work if I tried to create an account or whatever. An account like the login page. I don't even know what my login was, but I doubt it would work if I did. But exploring, you can see the world of Neopia. This old school art, very much a thing of its time. I got games, puzzle games, action games, luck. What's the featured game? Puzzles from Beyond the Stars. Does it still work? Seems like it does. Evil Puzzles. Pilot your walker from station to station, wiping out evil mutated puzzles and cleaning up mines along the way. Use your mouse to aim and fire. Alright. Let's see if this works. I see. You shoot as many things as you can, and then you hit the bonus button before you lose it. I'm not going to play this anymore, but pretty basic game. How about create a pet? Will that work? No, I'm not logged in. I remember some of these things very vividly. Well, that's enough of Neopets. Ah, yes, Napster. Who remembers the early days of Napster? This was back when music piracy was, well, it was blowing up. Everyone realized you could get music for free on the internet, and it really had a big effect on the music industry. Though, this may have been, I'm not sure, maybe this is just a thing to make them look like they're complying. This may have been after they started obeying the law, because it says they support the rights of artists and copyright holders, and seek to comply with applicable laws. Though everyone knows that basically no one used Napster for illegal music at the time, so may have been a fake thing. Of course, we got Netscape, one of the older web browsers, Netscape Navigator, a classic, though I didn't really use it that much myself. And, yes, Newgrounds, home to a lot of very fun and funny and very edgy games and animations and stuff. I remember this was kind of controversial among parents when I was a kid because it does have some pretty inappropriate stuff, but hopefully it's not going to show up in this video when I click here. Alright, so yeah, I did click there, and there was something that I probably don't want to have in this video. Nothing super crazy, but definitely very not fitting for this, so I'm going to skip Newgrounds. But anyway, how about Panda Express? Let's get some Chinese-ish fast food. What's on the menu? The orange flavored chicken. Not the orange chicken, the orange flavored chicken. There's a difference. I got beef with broccoli, chicken with mushrooms. Now I'm kind of hungry. But that's enough Panda Express. How about Pixar? The early days of Pixar. When they're, I guess this is when, yeah, Toy Story was a thing. I don't even know if Bugs Life was out yet. Let's see what's on their list of features. Oh yes, it had just come out. Bugs Life opened on November 25th to rave reviews. Screenshot from A Bug's Life. It was was their second computer-animated feature-length film. So at this time, they only had 2 full-length movies. Of course, the first was Toy Story, and they're hinting at Toy Story 2 coming to a theater near you in 1999. I wonder if this was before or after they almost lost Toy Story to a data problem. Toy Story 2, that was. Oh yeah, Pokemon World, the official Pokemon website. Now this is like my childhood in one website. I was subscribed to Nintendo Power magazine. I was all about playing Pokemon. They have Pokemon sheet music for the Pokerap or the Pokemon theme, both songs that were big in my childhood. You could catch Mew at Toys R Us. And Burger King had trading nights. Interesting how they partnered with a fast food restaurant to get people to trade Pokemon at restaurants. And Pokemon, the first movie, the premiere was so big they had to shut down Hollywood Boulevard. Let's see what that was about. Ah yes, Pokemon at the Chinese Theater. I remember seeing Pokemon, the first movie, as a kid in a theater. They got the Pikachu Beetle. Let's look at the Pokedex. An entire list of Pokemon. I think this is just the original 151. How about Psyduck? A Psyduck defeats its opponents by mesmerizing them with a piercing stare and unleashing a barrage of pent-up mental energy. These water Pokemon are rare and are found in both the red and blue versions of the game. So yeah, they didn't even have gold or silver yet. Interesting. Lots and lots of Pokemon stuff here. I didn't see Nintendo here. I wonder if Nintendo.com is part of ProtoWeb. Let's try it. Oh yeah. So here's Nintendo Power Source. 1996, Nintendo of America. Yeah, looks like it's here. The search for Nintendo 64. Seems like Nintendo 64 was hard to get. They're talking about shipping more to retailers all the time. They do not sell directly to consumers from the internet. Interesting. There's not a ton of clickable links here. I don't know if that's how it was or if it's not complete yet. But if I keep going here, how about RuneScape? So I believe this is one that plays the current version of RuneScape. Like this is the live RuneScape game in the old version's web browser page. I never did play RuneScape, but I know a lot of people did. I got an ad for Happy Puppy, the #1 game site on the internet. Free games for a full year. Did not hear of that as a kid. Moving on, we've got Sega.com. Now that's a website. Look at that. Let's click on games. Yeah, this is back when they still made consoles. All the way up to the Saturn, it looks like. Let's look at the Sega Genesis. In 1989, Sega revolutionized the game industry. For some reason I thought it was newer than that. And then the Saturn. America's first Saturn took men to the moon. This one will take them quite a bit farther. The Saturn was definitely nowhere near as successful as the Genesis. I got some downloads. A Knight's desktop theme for Windows 95. I got a demo for Comic Zone and Bug. Interesting. happens if I click on Sonic? Blue is back. He's big, he's blue, and he's back. Sonic is back alright in a 6-pack attack of games featuring Sonic's much-anticipated debut on Sega Saturn, triumphant return to Genesis and Game Gear, premiere appearance on Pico, and for the very first time, Sonic is breaking into the PC world with 2 all-new titles. Oh yeah, Sonic 3D Blast, Schoolhouse CD, and Sonic Blast Classic. Who remembers Sonic Schoolhouse? Kind of a creepy, weird educational game. Not very Sonic-ish at all, but if I'm not mistaken, it was the inspiration for the horror game Baldi's Basics. So that's how you know it was creepy. Something about the way it looked is just weird. You could also win a compact computer from Sonic. Sonic 3D Blast. Sonic CD. One of my favorite 2D Sonic games. Very nice. How about SixFlags.com? So big, so fast, so close. Guess that was their slogan back then. Exciting rides like Superman the Escape and Batman the Ride. That's the 90s, alright. I'm a theme park nerd, and so I remember these were from the mid-90s, I think. Interesting. Yeah, what's new from 1997? Very 90s. You can get the Six Flags Entertainment card from MasterCard. Very retro-looking credit cards. How about... oh yeah, Space Jam is right here. How about the first release of the Steam webpage? I don't know when this would have been, but yeah, it's just talking about Steam. It was when it was first introduced and barely had anything to offer at all. But it was the start of something big. Direct software delivery and content management. Looks like this was 2002. I remember my first Steam game was Half-Life 2. How about THX.com? The audience is listening. I wonder if there was any way to watch the THX intro or hear the sound on this website. Doesn't quite look like it, but if you've heard it or seen it, you know what I mean. The THX sound system. Ah yes, I remember that robot in some of their previews or whatever. Yeah, check it out at your local movie theater. You couldn't watch it online, you had to go to the movies. Interesting. There's also ValveSoftware.com. Got the Valve logo. This is 2000. Projects. Half-Life, Team Fortress. Team Fortress 2, Brotherhood of Arms, is Valve's upcoming multiplayer game. It won awards in 1999 at E3. If I'm not mistaken, this was like maybe 4 years or so before Team Fortress 2 actually came out. Interesting how long it was delayed, and now it got a name change. How about Walmart? Welcome to Walmart on the web. This Walmart employee is making me feel very welcome. You can apply for the Walmart Chase card. Let's go to Walmart online. Not on ProtoWeb, probably because it's you can't actually shop there anymore. Interesting. And so, how about WinZip.com? Here's WinZip and WinRAR, both compressed file or folder extracting software. I remember no one ever wanted to pay for these things. They got screenshots of WinRAR. Yep, that's WinRAR, alright. Let's take a look at yahoo.com. Basically the same as Yahoo is today, like Google, but with more clutter on the homepage. And how about X? As you know, Twitter, or as some people call it, X these days, is now X.com, but in the past, X.com was related to PayPal. They merged and became PayPal, but this was, if I'm not mistaken, also started at least in part by Elon Musk. So seems he's wanted to do X.com in some form for quite a while. Some sort of banking system, I'm not sure. Maybe similar to PayPal. So we're done with the list of major sites here. But if we scroll down, we can see around the world. There's some extra stuff from around the world. So what do we want to take a look at here? How about the Japanese Sega website? Entertainment Universe. Kinda like the English one, but in Japanese, with the hub with the things floating around it. Sonic's not here. GameSoft. And yes, there was or maybe still is, a Sega theme park or two, or maybe or more, in Japan. I always thought that was kind of cool. Anything else here you want to take a look at? I don't know. I got some FTP file sharing sites. Alright. So that's it for the list on this directory. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to try looking up via URL. How about, I remember Albino Black Sheep having lots of Flash animations and games I liked as a kid. I think it was albinoblacksheep.com. Yeah, it's not there yet, but maybe one day. But yeah, I think this is a good place to stop, and I hope you enjoyed watching and or listening to me explore the old internet. I had a good time, and hopefully you did too. So thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time, and have a good night.